Each day, we encounter situations that test our patience and disturb our peace. It could be a traffic jam when you're already running late, or your phone dying during an important call. Life is full of these small challenges, but it's not just about the irritations themselves. It's about how we respond to them that shapes our days, and ultimately, our lives. Today, we're diving into the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us not just to endure these moments, but to grow through them. Let's explore how the calm logic of Stoicism can help us control our reactions, cultivate serenity, and bring about deep personal transformation. If you find value in what we're discussing today and want to continue learning together, please hit the subscribe button. And be sure to watch the entire video to fully grasp the transformative insights we're about to share. Let's begin. Lesson 1 is recognizing that anger is natural. It's important to remember that everyone feels angry sometimes. It's a part of being human. But this is where Stoicism offers its wisdom. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. This is key to changing how we deal with anger. Think about it. When something goes wrong or someone frustrates us, our first instinct might be to react with anger. But what if instead we paused and thought about our reaction? Stoicism encourages us to see these moments as chances to practice virtues like patience, understanding, and resilience. By acknowledging anger as a natural emotion, we prepare ourselves to handle it more effectively. The Stoic philosophers, like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, often talked about not being affected by external events, but focusing on our internal responses. They believed that our emotions, including anger, come from our judgments about events, not the events themselves. So, when we feel angry, it's often because we're judging the situation in a certain way. This understanding gives us a powerful opportunity. Each time we feel anger rising, we can ask ourselves, what judgment am I making about this situation? Is there another way to see it? This isn't about suppressing or denying your anger. It's about understanding it. By getting to the root of what triggers our anger, we can start to change our responses. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic and you feel anger bubbling up, recognize it as a chance to examine why you react this way. Is it really the other driver's action, or is it your belief that your route should be free of obstacles? Moreover, acknowledging anger helps us empathize with others who might also struggle with their emotions. This empathy can deepen our connections and improve our interactions. It's about compassion for both ourselves and others as we navigate the complexities of human emotions. Lesson 2 is to focus on what you can control. This idea is central to Stoic philosophy and is incredibly freeing once you truly understand it. Think about it. So much of our frustration and anger comes from situations or people we simply can't change, no matter how much we want to. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, taught that real power lies in recognizing the difference between what we can control and what we can't. You control your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions. That's it. Everything else is mostly out of your hands. Other people's actions, the weather, the past, and much of the future. But here's where it gets interesting. By focusing on our own reactions and attitudes, we reclaim a tremendous amount of power. Instead of wasting energy on things we can't control, we invest it in what we can actually influence. Let's make it practical. Say you're working on a group project and someone isn't pulling their weight. It's easy to get frustrated, right? You might even feel your temper rising, but ask yourself, what part of this situation can I actually control? You can't make your teammate work harder, but you can control how you respond to the challenge. Maybe it's having a conversation about expectations or redistributing the work within the group. By shifting your focus like this, you not only reduce your own stress, but also open up more constructive ways to address the problem. Another aspect of this Stoic principle is accepting that some things are just beyond our control. This acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means understanding where our power truly lies. It's about not letting external events dictate your peace of mind. For instance, if you're stuck in traffic and getting irritated because you'll be late, pause and think, can I control the traffic? No. But what can I control? Your reaction. Maybe you turn on an audiobook or some calming music, or use the time to think through your day. The beauty of focusing on what you can control is that it gradually builds a stronger, more resilient mindset. Over time, you'll find yourself less shaken by life's ups and downs because you know where your responsibilities lie and where they don't. This isn't about suppressing your feelings, but about channeling your energies more productively. Lesson 3. Understand your emotions. The Stoics believed that knowing the root causes of our emotions leads to better self-control. When we grasp why we feel a certain way, we can handle life's challenges in ways that match our values and goals, rather than reacting impulsively. Every emotion we experience, whether anger, joy, sadness, or fear, stems from how we perceive the world around us. For instance, if you get angry when someone interrupts you, it's worth asking why. Is it because you feel disrespected? Or does it come from a deeper insecurity about being heard? By exploring these questions, you can start to understand not just your reactions, but also the beliefs and values that drive them. This understanding is crucial because it allows you to change your perceptions and, in turn, how you feel. Stoicism teaches that our emotions are based on our judgments. The good news is that judgments can be examined and changed. So when you feel a strong emotion, try to step back and ask yourself, what am I believing right now? Is this belief true? Is it helpful? This type of questioning is powerful as it enables you to shift your perspective and choose an emotional response that serves you better. For instance, if you feel anxious about a work presentation, it might be because you believe you must perform perfectly to be respected. But is that really true? Your colleagues likely value your effort and sincerity more than perfection. Realizing this can ease your anxiety and help you approach the situation with more calmness and confidence. In practical terms, journaling can be an effective tool for understanding your emotions. By writing down what you feel and why you feel it, you can uncover patterns and triggers that you might not notice otherwise. This reflection not only helps in the moment, but also builds emotional intelligence over time, making you more resilient and adaptable. Lesson 4 is to accept impermanence. The idea that everything changes and nothing lasts forever is a universal truth that can help us navigate life's ups and downs with more grace and less frustration. It's about understanding that our circumstances, emotions, and even our thoughts are constantly changing, and learning to embrace this constant state of change rather than resisting it. Think about how often we get upset because things didn't go as planned. Maybe it was a job promotion that didn't come through, a relationship that ended unexpectedly, or a sudden change in our health. Our first reaction might be to resist these changes, to get angry or sad. But Stoicism invites us to look at these situations differently through the lens of impermanence. When we truly grasp that nothing is permanent, we start to realize that our anger or disappointment is also temporary. This doesn't make our feelings less important, but it gives us a more balanced perspective on them. Embracing impermanence allows us to live more in the present and worry less about the past and the future. If you know that everything is temporary, you begin to appreciate your experiences and the people around you more deeply. You don't take things for granted because you're aware that circumstances can change at any moment. This awareness can be incredibly freeing. It reduces the sting of negative events and enhances the joy of positive ones. Now, how do we practice accepting impermanence in daily life? Start by reflecting on the transient nature of your surroundings and experiences. For example, watch how the seasons change. Observe how your feelings shift throughout the day, or how your relationships evolve over time. These observations can remind us that change is the only constant. Another way to integrate this into your life is by adjusting how you respond to disruptions or unexpected changes. Instead of reacting with frustration when something doesn't go your way, take a moment to acknowledge that this change is part of the bigger flow of life. It's an opportunity to adapt and grow. Think about a time when something didn't work out as you had hoped, and then something better came along. Often it's only in hindsight that we see how these changes were beneficial. Stoicism doesn't just ask us to accept impermanence, it encourages us to find strength in it. Each change and ending is a chance to practice resilience and flexibility. By fostering this mindset, we not only cope with life's challenges more effectively, but also learn to move through them with a sense of peace and anticipation for what's next. Lesson 5 is to practice mindfulness. This means being fully present in the moment, aware of where you are and what you're doing, without being overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around you. This aligns beautifully with Stoic teachings, which emphasize awareness of our thoughts and actions and maintaining control over our reactions to external circumstances. So, why practice mindfulness? Because it helps us to pause between our experiences and our reactions to them. By becoming more mindful, we can choose responses that align with our values and goals instead of getting swept away by emotions. This is especially useful when dealing with anger or frustration. For example, when someone says something that upsets you, instead of immediately reacting or snapping back, mindfulness allows you to take a step back. You notice your emotional surge, but choose to observe it without acting on it immediately. This space that mindfulness creates is not just calming, it's empowering. It gives you the chance to choose a response that you won't regret later. Mindfulness complements this by helping us to experience our feelings without judgment. Acknowledge that you're angry, recognize it, but also remind yourself that this anger is just a passing state. It's not who you are, and it doesn't control you unless you let it. Lesson 6. Develop patience. Stoicism emphasizes the value of patience, not just as a means of enduring, but as a way to transform our experiences. Patience, according to Stoic philosophy, isn't just about waiting. It's about how we conduct ourselves while we wait. It's about maintaining composure and dignity when faced with delays and challenges, recognizing that these are often beyond our control. In our daily lives, we encounter many situations that can trigger impatience, from slow-moving lines at the grocery store to traffic jams or a delayed response from a colleague. Our first instinct might be to feel irritated or stressed, but this is where Stoicism comes into play. It encourages us to view these moments as opportunities to practice virtue. Each delay offers a chance to exercise patience, reinforcing our ability to remain calm and composed. So how can we develop patience in practical terms? One effective approach is to adjust our expectations. Often our impatience comes from a mismatch between our expectations and reality. By acknowledging that delays and obstacles are natural parts of life, we're less likely to become upset when they occur. This doesn't mean lowering our standards, but rather aligning our expectations with the reality that the world won't always function according to our preferences. Another method is to use waiting periods as opportunities for growth and reflection. If you're stuck in traffic, instead of fuming over the delay, turn it into valuable time. Listen to an audiobook, practice deep breathing, or reflect on your day. This shift in perspective transforms a frustrating situation into a productive or relaxing one. Practicing mindfulness is also a powerful tool in developing patience. By being present in the moment and fully engaging with it, we can distance ourselves from the urgency and restlessness that often accompany waiting. Mindfulness helps us cultivate a peaceful state of mind that shields us from impatience. Stoicism teaches us to understand the impermanence of our current state. Remembering that this too shall pass can help us endure unpleasant situations. Whether it's waiting for a delayed flight or enduring a long recovery from an illness, knowing that it is temporary makes it more bearable. Finally, celebrating small victories is crucial in developing patience. When you manage to stay calm in a situation that would typically make you impatient, acknowledge and reward yourself for this achievement. This reinforces the behavior and makes it more likely to become a habit. Lesson 7. Practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is a transformative experience that not only changes how we relate to others, but also profoundly impacts our inner peace. In the Stoic sense, forgiveness isn't about condoning wrongdoing or forgetting harm done. It's about freeing ourselves from the emotional burden of holding on to grudges. Forgiveness requires strong self-awareness and control over one's emotions, qualities that Stoics strive to develop. It involves recognizing that our anger and hurt, while natural and valid responses to perceived injustices, are ultimately within our control. This doesn't mean that the process is simple or immediate. Forgiveness can be challenging, often requiring deliberate, sustained effort to let go of deeply held feelings of injustice. Consider the power that comes from deciding not to let someone else's actions disturb your inner tranquility. This is the essence of Stoic forgiveness. Making a conscious choice to not let past actions continually affect your present state of mind. This decision helps you reclaim your emotional energy and focus it on more constructive pursuits that align with your values and goals. So, how do we begin practicing forgiveness in everyday life? It starts with recognizing that all humans are fallible, including ourselves. We all make mistakes, sometimes out of ignorance, sometimes out of malice. Reflecting on our own shortcomings can help us develop empathy toward others, making it easier to forgive. Another Stoic practice is to consider the bigger picture. Often, the things we hold on to aren't as significant in the grand scheme of our lives. By focusing on our long-term well-being, which is supported by peace and harmony, the immediate sting of grievances can be lessened. Practicing forgiveness also involves actively reframing our narratives. Instead of viewing yourself as a victim, which can perpetuate feelings of anger and helplessness, try to see yourself as a survivor, or even a hero of your story, someone who has overcome challenges and emerged stronger. Lesson 8. Practice self-control. At its core, self-control allows us to pause before reacting, giving us the time to consider whether our impulses align with our long-term goals. For example, if you're trying to lead a healthier lifestyle, self-control is what helps you resist the temptation of late-night junk food. In emotional situations, self-control helps you hold back harsh words or an angry response, preserving relationships and maintaining peace of mind. How can we strengthen this essential skill? One effective Stoic practice is to regularly reflect on our actions and their consequences. This can be as simple as taking a few minutes each evening to think about the choices you made throughout the day. Were there moments when you lacked self-control? What triggered it? Understanding these patterns is the first step toward managing them. Another powerful technique is to set clear personal rules for behavior based on your values. Stoicism teaches that living according to rational principles is key to a good life. By setting and following your own rules, for example, not checking your phone during meals or limiting time spent on social media, you exercise self-control in ways that directly improve your daily life and well-being. Visualization is another helpful tool. Before entering a situation where you know you might be tempted to act impulsively, take a moment to visualize yourself handling the situation with calmness and restraint. Imagine the satisfaction you'll feel from acting in accordance with your principles. This mental rehearsal can make it much easier to keep your cool in the heat of the moment. It's also beneficial to gradually increase your tolerance for discomfort, which is a big part of self-control. The Stoics believed that by voluntarily exposing ourselves to discomfort, whether through cold showers, fasting, or resisting urges, we can strengthen our willpower. These practices teach us that we can endure discomfort and that it's often not as bad as we fear. This realization directly enhances our ability to exercise self-control in more complex emotional or social situations. Finally, remember that practicing self-control is a journey, not a destination. There will be times when you falter. That's just part of being human. What matters is that you recognize these moments, learn from them, and continue striving for improvement. Each victory, no matter how small, is a step toward becoming a wiser, more balanced person. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of self-awareness and growth at the Wisdom Hub. Don't forget to watch our next video, appearing right on your screen, to continue enriching your life with Stoic wisdom. Thank you for being part of our community. Until next time, stay wise and stay serene.